everyone, and welcome to the laughter-filled episode 50 of the Home Games Podcast. I'm Yazeed, and this is Joseph.
Hello, I'm Joseph, and today is October 4th, 2020.
It is, and it's the 50th episode.
It is the 50th episode. It's very exciting. Almost a year of doing this whole thing.
That's right.
Kind of the first, what I would call a real milestone, episode 50. 10 is like I'm just getting into this thing.
Yeah.
And we are still doing this. But 50, I feel like, is we're going to keep doing this type thing, you know?
Yeah, I think mathematically we probably should just wait until 52, but this is good.
No one is going to care about the 52nd episode. There's no thing in your brain saying that 52 matters.
But that's how many weeks are in a year.
No, I know. But like your brain doesn't see 52 and they're like, oh, I wonder what they talked about to celebrate. It's like, you see 50. You know what I mean?
You're right.
5-0.
Does that mean we're going to celebrate 100 instead of 104?
Yeah.
Right.
That kind of stuff, right? The first triple digit instead of 104.
Did we have a leap year? No, this isn't a leap year.
Was it? I thought it was. I thought that was a February 20. You have no idea.
I asked the question. I have no idea.
Because it's divisible by 4, right? Isn't that the leap year rule?
It needs to be divisible by 4, but not divisible by 400.
Yeah, leap year 2020.
Oh, okay. There was a leap year. Okay, so then in like 2 weeks we've recorded like 366 days.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah, very amazing.
Yeah, good job, bud.
Good job to you.
Thank you.
What are we doing this episode?
So this episode is going to be kind of chill. We're going to talk about home game stuff kind of in the beginning. Then we're going to talk about our general what's up stuff. And then we're going to get lost in the weeds of Joseph and I and how we became friends. Because I think that'd be kind of fun to do. And then, of course, Song of the Week. And then the wrap up.
Yeah, we wanted to do something a little bit more personal, I guess, for 50. Kind of this learn about us type thing, since I don't think we really have gone into depth about who we are or how we know each other.
I mean, we'll tell like little short snippets of the stories.
Yeah, no, we're not going to go too in depth.
In a general episode, no. But yeah, this episode should be enlightening.
For all involved.
For all involved, that's right. So for home games topics today, we have Joseph's video, and I was working with modals.
Mm-hmm. And then I kind of had some thoughts on hitboxes and kind of ways that we can do things that Yazeed was trying to do in his video of him building color tag, because I finished watching his video on color tag. And then, yeah, like I did my video.
How did those last 20 minutes feel?
The same as the rest.
Oh no.
It was fine. It was just more of like you were figuring out the collision stuff, and then a lot of like like revelations that you were having in your head. Maybe less sexual than the one that I just made. But that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I finished it. I liked how at the end.
I can't look at you after you said it. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm good. We're good. I'm good.
Yeah, I watched it. I finished it. It was cool.
Nice. Okay, I really thought in like the last 20 minutes, like it went off the rails on my video.
I feel like you would have benefited from taking a break 45 minutes in. Because the 45 minutes after were your descent into madness.
What's interesting is I did take a break about 45 minutes in.
Maybe a longer break.
That was I even left my house. I went to go visit my mom and came back. Like I guess like it's kind of hard to tell on there, but if you look at I show the timestamp at some point, and it's like it's 2:00 in the afternoon, and then I show the timestamp again. It's like it's 11 p.m. at night.
Maybe it was the fatigue of the day.
Maybe
and you would have benefited from like a nap.
I don't know. I get like that when things aren't working out, and I get frustrated, and some part of me loves when it becomes unfrustrated. And that's what I really like programming. Yeah. Like that's really what all I care about when it comes to programming is I enjoy being frustrated, but even more so, I like being unfrustrated.
That's actually some advice that one of my coworkers / friends gave me a while ago, kind of when looking for candidates and stuff when we were doing interviews. And it was, there's kind of different types of feelings when you finish something that's frustrating. You either are dealing with frustration, and in the end, you're just like, fuck, I finally got it working. Fuck this project. This is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Or you get it working, and you're like, oh, finally. Like, you're happy about overcoming it.
Yeah.
And you want more of the second person, because the first person is just gonna be angry.
They're never gonna be enjoying their day.
Yeah, you have to enjoy the headbanging part of frustrating of programming. The same thing, huh? Yeah, no, but so talking about your video, I'll talk about my hitbox thing.
Yeah.
I thought of a way that you can do what you were trying to do without modifying the collision stuff at all.
Oh, okay.
Hitboxes. So if you have a asset or a visual representation of something that exists, kind of taking up some width, call it X, and a height, call it Y, you can have an underlying box underneath that taking up 0.99X, 0.99Y. So essentially, you can hit that edge and not collide, but once you hit the inner box of this thing, you're visually colliding, but the game doesn't register a collision until you're kind of in it some. You know what I mean? So you're in the guts. Kind of like how shooters work and stuff. There's hitboxes like on the person.
Yeah.
So essentially, every box that you have would have a child of it that is just slightly smaller than it. So when
I could see that work. Yeah, that would work.
When the collision actually triggers, it's because you're in it, like you hit it.
Yeah, that actually might be a better way of doing it anyway, because that resolves our shape problem.
What do you mean? What shape problem?
Right, because right now the way I wrote on my thing is that it has to be a rectangle, but theoretically having like an internal hitbox, having an internal hitbox would be fine.
Yeah, I saw some.
Sorry, finish.
I was going to say I saw some math for general polygon intersection stuff, but that seemed way more mathy. So I think having hitboxes in general might be good, especially if you have some sort of, like I said, an asset like an image or something like that with kind of weird, wonky dimensions.
Yeah.
Instead of doing math and hard problems and stuff, we can just put boxes in there.
Yeah. I mean, you could also, even if you do have like your small shape, I think if we figured out the collision intersection stuff, we would need to anyway. Because it can't just be a box. Because like if you have a triangle, a box is going to be either too small or way too big.
Yeah, we kind of have this on the client as well, because we have to do math to say is a given point within a polygon or circle to tell if they're hovering over something that's clickable. But in the collision stuff, I think that'll get really wonky when you're talking about like a circle colliding with a triangle. That sounds like some math I have no interest in doing at the moment. So just having general kind of hitboxes and stuff might work. Another thing is you had your like number of vertices intersecting, and that was like useful for your game, but I don't know how useful it is kind of in a general sense. And then you had like you were in paint and you were showing like this case would work, but this case would not work. But in my game, it's fine because I have a 5x5 grid, so you can never align them.
Yes.
So it's like very specific to your game.
Very much so, yes.
So I think hitboxes in general would be
a better and cleaner solution.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm right.
You are, yeah.
For once.
I don't know about for once. You definitely write it quite often. Yeah, but you're correct about that. Having an internal hitbox is better.
No, but it's one of those things where it's you have a problem, the general you has a problem, and you're like, I need to do this specific thing. You step away from it a little bit. Like I stepped away from your video for 4 days, came back to it and was like, hitboxes. That's all you need.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just like you need time.
Yeah, I think at that moment I was like, I want the colors to change. I was like, I want to tag this thing, but it's not tagging properly.
Yeah.
So that was part of where that frustration came from.
Yeah.
But kind of talking about hitboxes and like having something like slightly smaller than the other one. One of the things that I was doing when I was working on the modals was I realized that actually I want to talk to you about this because in my head, I don't like when there's a modal and then another modal and they're the exact same size. So that when you close one, there's just another one that was hiding underneath it the whole time.
Yeah.
I'd rather have it be like as the modals stack, they get progressively smaller. So like if you have two modals, you can see the lower modal and then the upper modal is like slightly shrunk, like maybe like 10% smaller on top of it.
So to kind of, for context, you're talking about the secrets and stuff in a game, you have this problem where if a game depends on a given key for a secret, then that key is not defined. You want to display a modal over the screen saying, hey, you don't have a thing. You don't have this thing. And you're setting this somewhere outside of the game. The game doesn't control the size of this modal. It just shows up all over the screen.
So that's kind of like what I was... So this is kind of the problem that I'm running into, right? Because some of them need to be like home games. Some of them need to be part of the game itself, right? So like, for example, the secrets thing, I think that should be handled by home games, right? We've talked about this before, where home games itself should be like, they're missing these secrets. I need to alert them, so it makes home games, the back end makes a modal that pops up on the screen. The game itself doesn't need to care about that. They just need to say what which process.envs they need, right? Environment variables. I don't know. Anyway.
What secrets they need? What
Yeah.
keys,
And then, but when I'm looking at color tag, for example, the person who is the tagger needs to know that they're the tagger. Hence, the game needs to give them a modal as well. And so those are two separate use cases, but I think it should be the same
common utility.
it should be the same utility making both of them. But my problem is, like, I need them to stack properly, right? So like, if, for example, we later on wanted to add a modal pop up when you get disconnected, or like your connection's too slow and want to alert you like, hey, your connection's kind of slow, things might get a little wonky, right? We pop up a modal. They're playing color tag pops up its own modal. Those need to be, the color tag modal, if it popped up second, needs to be smaller than you have a slow connection modal, right? But they're created in two different places. So I need to figure out where to store this information now, because if I'm putting it into the game's base, or if I'm putting it into like something else, that's kind of like where I'm a little stuck on. Where do I put these possibly like nesting doll style modals? And do you even agree with my point about modals should be smaller as they stack on top of each other?
Yeah, I think I agree. Stacking modals in general is shitty. If I have modal, and I have to click X to get back to the game, that sucks. I would argue, if you're doing something to even get to that point where the game thinks it's a good idea to show 7 modals on one, and then we have another modal on top of that, something has gone horribly wrong.
Yeah.
And that game probably is doing something wrong with its modals. I think if the home, like, we're talking about the home game's level notification, which to me says, fuck whatever's on your screen, I'm showing you something. If I'm doing this thing where I'm stacking things, say for example, outside of the secrets thing, a slow connection, for example, if you wanted to say, hey, your connection, or maybe you have a dropped connection or something like that, where it's like really important that you need to know this. Let's say I'm in shit game 5000 and there's modal, and maybe they're getting smaller, maybe they're the same size, and then I have another thing I want to show. I should basically eat your entire screen and say, I don't care what was there. I have an override on a home games level to say, this is everything that you need to see. If we wanted to make them smaller and kind of this nested thing, to have some sort of like singleton instance of a modal head, whatever, root at some point, and say like every modal that you add is going to be added to this thing in a chain. It's not going to create a new root of modals or whatever. Then that creates this thing of, if they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller, that is us enforcing. That's us basically saying, at a certain point, this will all be unreadable. You should do something different.
They should.
You should. But if they're doing something wrong, I don't like. We should either disallow it completely, or allow it and let it be shit. But us like kneecapping what they're doing and being like, it'd be a real shame if your shit was unreadable, huh?
Yeah. Well, okay, so I don't think that they should have more than 2 modals.
Right.
I think one modal is reserved for us as home games, and one modal is allowed by the game. So, right? So the game can create its own modal, but then the home game's modal is going to be on top of it always if it needs to be there. If you start a game, I don't know, your connections. You start color tag. Color tag is like you're the tagger. That's a modal for the game. And then home games is like your connection's not great, and that's another modal that home games is generating. Home games modal should be on top. I think it should be smaller, but I also think that should be it. I don't think that the game should be able to do its more than one modal at a time. Maybe I don't see a reason why the game should have more than one modal anyway.
Yeah, I get that. So I think, yes, us as home games should only be able to show you one piece of information as kind of like our design thing. If we have information to show you, we will eat over the screen of the game to say, this is information that you need to see. You can dismiss it. You can move on, maybe depending on whatever it is. We will show you one thing. We will not stack them. The game could have one, but at that point, it's kind of us enforcing style or practice or something in a way that we don't outside of this. If someone had, for example, 13 buttons stacked on top of each other and only the top one was clickable and whatever, that's probably bad. But we're not enforcing anything. We don't have any kind of rules to say that you can't.
Yeah.
So I think the second that we say on a code level, no, you can only have one modal, is the start of this slippery slope of like tyranny. You know what I mean?
That might be a fallacy, but I'll allow it.
The slippery slope fallacy is a fallacy. I'm just saying, if we're going to enforce style or practices or whatever, we should do that in a code review and say, hey, this is probably really bad. Instead of on a code level saying this is disallowed, because then we kind of start stepping into actual limitations on what people can do based on our ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
If someone wants to have 40 modals stacked on top of each other, we can say this is trash, but they could build it.
Okay, so I guess then what you're saying is that there should be, like a standard modal that home games itself will make, and that'll always be the same size, same layout, everything. But the same utility will be available to a developer. They just won't be making the home games modal. Basically, like that modal will be smaller than the home games modal.
It doesn't necessarily
by default
need to be small. Yeah, because they could change the size, they can change the styling or whatever. But given the way that the rendering works, anything that we put in the home games stuff will show up over their stuff. Yeah, so we can do whatever. But I think the same utility should be enabled to both.
So then basically what I need to do then is just add it, or I need to make it either added to the home games base, like its base, and then another utility that's like it takes in the base as the argument.
You say that again?
So one, which is like the home games proper, will add itself, like add its modal, like the modal it's creating will be added to like the home game base, so that it's always on top. And then the one in the game needs to take in the base in order to like add it.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if they necessarily would need to, because in my mind, the modal utility is just a convenience to basically put a rectangle on the screen.
Yeah, oh, well, it's a styled rectangle, no?
Yeah. It's a style and text and stuff.
With options.
But the end result is a game node that they can insert into their tree. So if they want to have their tree of however they want to do it, or if they want to have modal, which is not really a modal in like the usage of that word, but if they want to have kind of pop-up rectangle in a grid, they could kind of do that however they want. You know what I mean? If they're getting a game node, they can arrange them however they want.
Right. I mean, if they do that, that's fine. But basically what I'm saying is that we would need them to pass in whatever like their root that they want to add the modal to as part of their arguments, right? Because if they're adding like their root node, that's now on top of everything in their game. And if they add like, I don't know, 15 modals to like individual squares, those individual squares would be like the root that got passed to the function, right?
But I would think that the return of the util is a game node instead of the util rendering.
Okay? Yeah. All right, I see.
Yeah, I see. Instead of a returning null and simply interacting with your tree directly, it would return a game node for you to insert.
I see. Okay.
So you manage everything. Yeah.
I need to make some changes then.
Okay. That's just my view. I mean,
mine was returning true if the modal was inserted and false if something went wrong. So
yeah, I would think just to have the separation of concerns and have the lack of side effects in your code, then it would just return a modal. Just same way that shape utils returns coordinates.
Yeah.
util for a modal would return a game node.
Okay.
It just returns the kind of unit that you need to put into your shit.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then I will make those changes, and I think everything else is gonna work, and I'll put up PR tomorrow probably.
Cool. Yeah. Also, yeah, I haven't looked at your PR comments on any of my stuff. I kind of wasn't concerned about anything besides my videos this week, so I'll do it this week.
So I watched your first video.
Yeah.
What did you learn?
I learned that talking is difficult.
Yeah.
But drinking helps.
I don't know if that's the thing you should have learned.
So, like I said, I wanted it to be very, very limited silence. I wanted it to be like me constantly trying to give context to what I'm doing, explain my thought process, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, how something works. I could probably do that fully sober. Drinking whiskey helped because I kind of got the loose mouth and I just kind of kept going, which was to my detriment at points because I basically was trying to just keep moving, and then I would say things that like weren't correct, and then I would have to correct it immediately afterwards, which is, I mean, I did, but I don't know. I think the whole keep talking thing is difficult.
Yeah.
And that's the main takeaway. I had fun. It also didn't take as long as I thought it would. And I learned that Windows is trash, but I already knew that, so. Oh, you didn't see the second one. The camera stopped working on the second one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Why did you switch to? I know you mentioned the first video, but why did you switch to working in Sublime instead of Vim?
Because I am probably more effective in moving around files and stuff in Sublime than I am in Vim.
Oh, okay.
In Vim, I'm just comfortable with like the things I know how to do, but I don't want to have like a split. And then a horizontal split and a vertical split of all these different files, and then having to move through them with my keys. I'm not that good at Vim. So I figured instead of watching me struggle with a command line editor to make, like, for my own pride and ego, I would just use Sublime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then, shoot, I had a different question. Fudge.
Why do I suck so much?
No, you were good. Dang it. Oh, the hot reload. You killed the hot reload at some point during the first video, didn't you?
And then I used it more, yeah. It was only because when I kind of mentioned this, but not super clearly. When I needed to get console logs, I would switch to manually running it. When I had fixed the issue that I was logging for, I moved back to the hot reloader.
Oh, okay.
And it's because I never updated the hot reloader to get standard out from the process it was creating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering why you killed it. I was like, but that defeats the purpose.
Yeah, it's because I needed console. I was getting console errors because of however that whole thing works, and it was
because errors will go up always, but standard output doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, so I wasn't getting my logs. I needed my logs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious why you had killed it. Okay, that makes sense. And the hot reload looks pretty good from what you shown.
Thanks. Yeah, I was surprised it worked as well as it did when it was working. Or when I had it running.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like it was pretty snappy. It reloaded and everything, and that definitely probably saved you some time.
I think it did. I mean, every second it's just checking all my files and stuff, and there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done there, but just kind of for, like, I built that for the purpose of getting the videos to be more flowy, because I didn't want to have to keep moving between, because I knew I wasn't going to use Vim. And if I was using Vim, I would have to do the whole ! Node game server every time I saved, probably W and then that, so I can write the file. Like, I didn't want to do that and be slow and clunky and chunky and funky the whole time. So I just wanted to have Sublime, a nice, pretty editor that everybody could read. And you can see the file structure and you can see all this other stuff, which you could do in Vim. I just don't have the plugins. And all this kind of stuff. So because I wanted to keep it all in Sublime, I needed a thing running in the background that would keep running the process. That's the whole reason I did the hot loader. So it worked for that. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that was one thing I ran into when I was doing my video. I was like, it's like, which one of these was the right one? Like, kill this one, start it up again, all right, go back, refresh the page. Yeah. It was a process. I'm excited for having the hot reloader in mine as well.
Yeah, it was it improved my developer efficiency.
Did you add the? I think I'm like too close to the mic for how much the gain is. Did you add the standard output stuff to the branch that has hot reload? Because I need to make a video this week. So
No, I still haven't done the standard out stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Could you?
No, I'm busy. Yeah, I'll consider it.
Stan's busy this whole week, huh?
Yeah, I'll make some time for it.
Okay,
finish
thank
some
you.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever you get around to it. If not, I can always take a peeky weeky at it and see if I can fix it.
This man says.
Yeah, and then see if I can fix it.
Okay.
Right on. Are you ready to move on to...
What did you think of the video? Did you think it was trash?
No, I thought it was good. I thought it was hilarious, some of the things you were saying.
What? I don't remember a lot of the things I was saying.
Some of them were super... I don't remember all of them either. I think the sweet tea thing was my favorite line of the whole thing, though. I thought it was really informative. I liked watching your thought process because it plays out. You verbalize your thought process. Me, you kind of have to like know me as a person and then like realize like, oh, okay, like he's doing mental gymnastics to get where he's going. You verbalize it the whole way, and I think that was good. But I still need to watch parts 2 and 3, and I will.
Yeah, I think part 1 was maybe the worst part.
Oh.
But we'll see. If you saw the end of the first one, I had a bug that I had to go look into what was happening. It was a 1-line change that I did in the second one. But yeah, I guess how was it the correct amount of information? Me talking about what was there and kind of not talking about what I didn't talk about.
I obviously I'm not a complete outsider, so I have some amount of I have like the base knowledge to understand everything basically that you were doing. So to me, it was the correct amount of information. Okay. I could follow along with what you were doing.
Okay.
With no problems.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hopefully we get better at doing these and keep doing them. I don't know if we have like a super solid schedule on when I don't know if it's every Friday because that's kind of a lot of work, but yeah, we'll figure it out. I
think it's every Friday, but one of us is only putting out a video each Friday, so we each get a Friday off basically.
Yeah, this is like a job.
Yeah. Hold on, we're doing for almost a year.
Yeah, no, I'm not opposed to doing them, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I think for these ones in particular, like for mine, it was easy. I had a very clearly defined goal, and I could do it in an hour and 40 minutes total. And then editing took maybe another hour. If I have something like the clicker, which I want to go back to after all this stuff, or something like performance profiling, which is another thing I want to be doing, those are less clearly defined. I can't go in and be like this. So I don't know how much I can talk through those while still being effective at what I'm doing. It would be nice because I'm essentially combining two things. I'm combining the time I'm spending writing code anyway. The time I'm writing code anyway and like content creation. If I can get content out of the work I'm already doing, bless you. Then that's a plus. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how it goes. I'm just saying I don't have the like we'll never miss a day like I do with this podcast. Yeah. We'll never miss a week. I don't have that same kind of drive in my head for the Friday videos. I
don't think that I'm not going to record the modal stuff. I don't think that we should record ourselves working on like the guts of home games. Mm-hmm. I think that we should only do games. Yeah, because I think that's what most people are going to be doing with home games. Hopefully, people don't have to go into the guts of it every time they make a game, and they can just make a game.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I don't want anybody touching the guts of home games unless they have a very specific like thing that they're doing, and we have kind of given the go ahead. Yeah, because like that's the thing that we said way early on. I don't want someone just fucking rewriting the entire core of home games and being like, "Here you go," because that's not what I want. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, so I used 6 NPM packages, remade all of home. It was like, what? Hold on.
Yeah. I added React. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm glad you liked the video. Hopefully, I don't want to be drinking on all of them. This is just kind of my first one, but
yeah, it is definitely really uncomfortable talking in your room on your own just about what you're doing. I was like, I feel like I'm in an interview and I don't like it.
Yeah. Once I got going though, it was kind of okay.
Yeah, I felt that way too. There's like a middle part in my video where I'm like, I think I'm in the right groove for it, and then like the opening, it's like it's a little rough, and then the ending is a little rough for mine. I felt like.
Yeah, especially.
I didn't feel that way on yours. I thought yours was like pretty good. It's like pretty
you.
solid all the way through.
It's like the thing in the beginning where you're just like, hello everybody, just like there's no one around you.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
Yeah, I also really don't like the like, and now you hit record and it's like it's go time and you gotta like go to your window and then you gotta like start talking and it's just like, oh god, what if I mess up?
Yeah, and I think it's another thing too where I said no edits. I actually am more on the no edit side now. Like once you get going, you'll fuck up.
Yep.
Fix it, but you don't have to cut it. Like on the intro, there's like 4 different versions. Hello everybody. Hello everybody. Hello everyone. Hi everyone. Hey everyone. Like I'm like flubbing the intro every time trying to get it correct.
Yeah.
And then I cut all that stuff out. Like cuts from the beginning and end are fine. But once I'm going, I'm going. I'm not gonna be like, oh, messed up that 5-minute stretch. Let me just redo it. That's where it starts to go bad.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do that.
I'm not gonna redo it.
It's also work. I don't want to do work.
Yeah, I just want to record my insane ramblings and put that out for the internet to hear.
Yeah, but I guess that's all I had. I really didn't have much for home games stuff.
I don't know. Could you go back to the?
Oh, the notes.
Yeah. I started reading them off of yours because it's awkward for me to like keep doing like phone stuff. Yeah, I think that was actually everything for home games. Ready to move on to what's up? What's happening?
Sure, yeah. What's up with you?
Dude, so much. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start with like the lowest priority one for me right now. I guess there's a new anime coming out about rock climbing. Okay. All my friends who watch anime have been telling me that it started this week, I guess. So I'm gonna watch an anime about rock climbing. Their explanation was it's cute girls rock climbing, and I hope what they mean by cute women rock climbing, because I don't really want to watch a show about like 12-year-olds who everyone in anime world thinks is like totally fine to do whatever with. But yeah,
to me that sounds like cute anime girls / women or whatever wearing skirts rock climbing, which is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I'm really hoping it's not like that, and I'm hoping it's like, and they're wearing chalk bags and like really good rock climbing shoes and like have their own belays. Like, yeah, I'm really hoping it's a good anime about rock climbing because I do love me rock climbing.
Is there a villain or an enemy or a?
I know literally all I know is what they told me, and it is cute girls rock climbing, and I said, okay.
Maybe the rocks are sentient and it's a fight against the rocks by climbing them.
You know, rock climbing really feels like that sometimes. It really does feel like the rocks don't want you to climb them sometimes, and you got to or you don't.
I wouldn't want to be climbed.
Well,
it's disrespectful.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes they're just oddly shaped, and your hands and them don't really like. You know, you don't really feel that connection.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it goes well.
Nice. I played Deep Space Waifu.
I saw
this. So I own the entire Deep Space Waifu collection, the saga.
Okay.
And Steam, once you play one weird porny anime game on Steam thinks that you're way into that, which
you are.
Maybe I kind of am.
All right.
So there was a game that they recommended called The Last of Waifus, which was it's the Last of Us artwork, but it's The Last of Waifus, right?
Okay.
Waifus, whatever. Yeah. And it was maybe the worst thing I've ever spent money on. It's a Unity game. Mm-hmm. It's totally incomplete. There's a level selection menu when you start the game, but there's only one level. There's currency that you get when you kill things. It's a survival-based shooter.
Okay.
No narrative, no nothing. You play as an anime girl, and your butt constantly jiggles when you're not moving, like anime games go. So you get currency that you can't spend. The enemies, there's one of them, and they just rush you. You can stand on one particular block of terrain and no enemies can get to you, and I found this out within minutes. You could just beat it. And then you get gallery images of the girl that you play as, and you can look at her. And I spent $2 on this game. I played it for 30 minutes, got all the achievements, of course. And I think it's the worst $2 I've ever spent in my life. Speaking of anime.
I don't even know what to say to that. Why? What? When you saw this game on Steam, were you like, all right, or were you just like, wow, how bad could it be? Like, what was your mental state going into playing this game? Basically, buying this game and playing it.
Honestly, it was the artwork. The last of waifus. It looked well done. I thought it was like a narrative or maybe a whatever. I clicked into it and I saw that it was a survival based shooter. I love survival based shooters. I thought, okay, $2, whatever, it's fine. I'll play it. It'll be cool. So I mean, I kind of just thought there looks like there's some production value here. The title's kind of funny. The artwork is kind of not trash. These screenshots look okay. I mean, it's a girl with an assault rifle and crosshairs and zombies and $2. Okay. That's basically it. I don't have a huge barrier for entry when it's $2, it's cheap. So when I played it, I regretted it. But Deep Space Waifu is still good. It's a shoot 'em up where the background is anime girls. They're wearing clothes and you shoot off their clothes. It's stupid. But
I know. Listen, I know what Deep Space Waifu is. I've seen you play it.
Anyway, I played anime games since you wanted to mention anime.
I'm not that far into it. I'm still testing the waters out on this whole let's play a game, let's watch a TV show about
rock climbing.
I'm into it more for the rock climbing than anything else.
Oh, I also forgot to mention, speaking of anime, I got Weathering with You. I just haven't watched it yet. So that's on my list.
I liked that movie, looking back on it, a lot more than I did immediately after watching it.
You told me I should watch it because you thought it was really good. Yeah, that's why I got it.
Dang. Okay, maybe my opinion didn't change. I just don't remember. So
a little bit of the unreliable narrator.
Yeah, I am a little bit of an unreliable narrator in my own life. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, other than that, National Novel Writing Month has been just going on because of COVID stuff, but next month is the start of it. So I'm preparing to try to write a novel again, as I have done for the last 8 years and failed every time.
Do you have any ideas of what your novel's going to be about?
I do.
Do you not want to talk about it? It's your artistic process.
No, I mean, I can talk about it. It's okay. So my idea was, basically what I wanted to do was to take what would normally be, from what I can tell, a standard anime narrative of there's a high school, but mine's not going to be set in high school because I'm not a weirdo. It's going to be set in a college or up, basically, where these are the elite students and they do wacky adventures together, and there's an anime protagonist and he has no emotions or anything. He's just nice to people, and then all the girls like him. So I wanted to take that kind of basis and deconstruct it and actually make it good. So it's gonna be set in a elite academy, and there's gonna be a main protagonist who's nice to everyone, but just it seems like the anime protagonists are just nice to the people they find attractive, and everyone else doesn't matter. So I'm gonna make that a big part of his personality. He's nice. He's I wanted him to the main guy I wanted to start as he's a nice guy, a nice guy, and then I wanted him to end as being a good person. And so that I wanted that journey to be kind of played out, but I also wanted to deal with corruption and things like that too. So
nice.
Yeah, the backdrop of the vid is just basically the prime minister's son gets kidnapped, and they get this academy is supposed to put together a crack team to go and figure out who did it, because the prime minister can't trust his intelligence services because of corruption, and this story plays out from there.
That's way more fleshed out than I would have thought.
I mean, I spent a year in my head, figuring out how I wanted to do it, and then in the month leading up to it, normally I write out where the characters start, where they are halfway through, and then where they are at the end, and then I try to do I try to flesh out some of the big character defining scenes, but I really struggle with starting and maintaining the 10,000 words per day thing, because almost always something happens. Last year was the first day work went to shit and I had to work crazy hours the first 3 days, and at that point I was I'm 30,000 words behind schedule, and I struggle to write 10,000 words per day anyway. So I don't know. I might not even be able to get to again this year. But it seems like this year is like way more static than last year. Like things don't seem to change very much. So
It's just like a constant fire.
yeah, a little bit. But that might be better for me to write in as an environment than a random fire erupting at on the 1st of November every year.
Yeah, everything's shit, but at least it's consistent.
Yeah, it's consistently shit, which means you can plan around it, which I'm kind of okay with. Yeah, so like that's what I'm gonna try to go for.
Nice. I used to want to write a novel for like purely narcissistic reasons. I thought it would be cool to just like write a book about my life, but it was like not not an autobiography, but like a narrative about my life. I thought it was so important. Anyway, I gave up on that idea once I actually sat down with Word. I was like, fuck this.
I don't write it in Word anymore. When I write it in Word, I get frustrated when like I have to keep spell checking stuff. So right now I'm just writing it I'm gonna write it in VS Code probably because I'm that kind of crazy person.
Yeah. I kind of respect that. I would write mine in Vim.
Hell yeah, dude. You should. I would say you should try. Even if you can't make it, it is kind of a fun experience of like designing characters and like a narrative structure that you want to go with, and just kind of mashing together all the things that you like into something that you hope you like.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I would feel like an outsider completely because I don't, like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I don't read a whole lot outside of like internet posts. I don't read actual narratives or anything. So me thinking I can write one is kind of hilarious.
No, listen, I have no intentions to become an author. I don't think mine's going to be good at all. It's just for fun. It's just something to do, basically, and like plan for and look forward to. Yeah. I don't know. You don't have to do it. I just think you might.
You're telling me I have to do it. It's kind of a mandate.
Yeah, I'm kind of challenging you here. I bet you're a dumbass.
Once you beat Doom Eternal, I'll write my book.
How dare you? I don't have time to play Doom Eternal and figure out how to write a book. Yeah, and then the last thing for me was just League of Legends World is going on, and I have to watch I don't have to, but I watch like 9 hours of League of Legends content per day almost.
That's a lot of League of Legends.
Yeah, buddy.
As long as you're happy about it.
I love it. Yeah. I really like watching soccer, but there is no analysis of soccer on the same level there is analysis of League of Legends. It's kind of why I wanted to get into football, American football, for a while, because American football has like weird analysis too, like a weird level of analysis too.
You mean during the game or kind of outside of the game?
Both. So like during the game, soccer, basically like when you watch soccer live for the most part, they normally don't tell you like, and they should do this and this, or like this is why they're doing this. They're just like, this player is amazing and that's why he has the ball, and like watch these play. Like they basically just like tell you, and like as if you're like watching a radio broadcast of the plays. Like they're just there to get you as excited as they are, basically. Whereas I feel like for football, they have a lot of downtime, so they just tell you like, yeah, this play they're gonna try to run this play again, like they're good runners or whatever. I don't know. I don't know anything about football. I'm making stuff up. And League of Legends is more similar to football in terms of like that, because there is quite a bit of downtime because it's a video game, and like, it's not like 100. It's not Doom, basically. There's some downtime in the game. So, yeah. So they just talk about like things to do and stuff like that. And then in my head, I'm like, yeah, and I'm like really good at this game secretly, even though I've been stuck in gold for like 7 years in a row. But yeah,
nice.
I don't know.
When does all that stuff end? Like how much is left before it's done?
We're just in the beginning.
Hasn't it already been like a week or two?
Yeah. So last week was what's called play-ins, which is basically like the lowest seed teams will play and see if they can get into the main tournament. Right now it's the group stage where there's 4 groups and they'll all play internally in their group, and then the 2 best teams in that group get to move on to the knockout stage. Hi, good girl.
The dog is uncomfortably close to my body.
Sorry.
So we're just no, it's not. It's all good. I'm just giving context for why we're maybe weird on the voice.
Yeah. So she's been really wanting affection today, and I don't know why.
We all want affection.
Well, normally she's not a super wants affection kind of dog. Like normally she's just a little chill.
Maybe because you've been watching League of Legends content for 9 hours, so she's like, "Hey, fucker, I'm still here."
Listen. Her schedule is my schedule. I set my whole life around her, almost. Like in terms of like when I wake up, when I go to bed, like when I do X, Y, Z. Like all that's built around like interacting with dog.
You're a good dog mom.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, what about you, man? What's going on with you?
Yeah, besides playing video games, I've been playing video games. I played other video games.
Did you finally beat Alex in Geometry Wars?
Oh, I did.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, fuck him. Yeah, I got him. Yeah, so like I said last week,
Hey, lady.
he was 47th. He was 47th in the world.
Oh, good girl.
And I was trying to beat him, and I spent 12 hours that 1 week trying to beat him, and I got 49th in the world, which was hilarious. Since we recorded the last one, I basically spent that entire like Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night trying to beat his score. I got 101 million twice, which put me at 48th in the world. I was literally one spot above him. Mm-hmm. Twice I got 101 million. So the way it works, you get the score, you have the score, it's your high score. You don't have to keep playing or whatever. You just kind of have it, and this particular mode, the upper end of the scores is maybe like 20 million or whatever. So having 100 million is insane. So we had 104. I had 101 twice after getting 90 or whatever I got, and it was this whole thing. And then at some point, one of the days I just mentioned, because I kept playing after I beat his score, I ended up getting it. I got 107 million or something, so just barely beating his score, and that was probably the highlight of my week. It was really interesting the way that I am is detrimental to me.
Yeah.
Because
yes.
because I could not think about anything except for that. Like every time I had free time to play games, I would be playing that game trying to beat him. And it's this thing where like I mentioned before, there are 150 levels or whatever. I'm beating him on every single one except one. And it's the one that gets to me because I'm not completely demolishing him. So I spent all this time playing. And I wouldn't let myself play other games. I wouldn't let myself play other modes. I wouldn't let myself do anything else for fun. I just had to beat it. And then I beat it. And it was like this weight was lifted off my shoulders where I was able to do other things. So then I started playing The Last of Us this week.
I thought you were going to say, so I didn't do anything because I couldn't figure out what to do now.
I just sat
and
pondered.
I was like, this might end badly. Well, I could see you being like, and now I've accomplished my goal, and being like, I don't really want to do anything else.
No, there were times where I was like, man, I wish I would play another game right now. But I cannot. I didn't let myself.
Yeah, I remember before this podcast where you might be a little autistic. You might be a little autistic. I'm really glad that we're friends and not enemies, because you're the kind of crazy ass person who would be enemies for years and years.
Yeah, I still hate this kid from second grade. I still know his name. Anyway, I
don't remember anything about second grade, so that's amazing, homie.
Amazing homie.
Amazing homie.
That's what they called me.
Aside, how'd you like Last of Us?
I really like Last of Us. I think it's I don't think I'm as hyped on it as I was in the beginning because the narrative has kind of slowed a little bit. That game is very much about story, and the combat is not really my favorite. It's chunky, kind of, and it's very heavy and weighty in a way that I don't really love. Like aiming at people, for example, just doesn't feel super smooth to me, and you're constantly looking for more ammo, which is the point. It's about like scarcity of ammo and resources. It's a post-apocalypse game. It feeds into the narrative, right? It's not a shooter.
Yeah.
You spend the game shooting people, but it's not a shooter in the way that Call of Duty or Gears of War or whatever are. So the beginning of the game has a lot of narrative, and it kind of hits this point where it really brings you into the story. And then since then, it's kind of been some light narrative sprinkled into this just general progression of getting to this place, explore this area kind of stuff. And it's not as heavy as it was in the beginning, so I'm not super engaged like I was, but I still really enjoy it. I think I'm like 8.5 hours into the story, and I looked up on how long to beat, and it's 23 hours on average to beat the game, so still got a ways to go. And I enjoy it. I don't want to talk about story stuff because it's still kind of a recent game and all that kind of stuff, but I will just say I enjoy it.
Nice.
Yeah. I've hit another kind of major story milestone, I think, recently, so like I said, it's progressing. It's just, it was maybe 4.5 hours between the last plot point and this major plot point. So it's kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like how Alex said he YouTubed the whole game. I kind of get that. I wouldn't do that because I don't like YouTubing games really, but I get doing that with this game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. I have two questions for you. One, did you see the new Smash Brothers announcement?
No, a Minecraft guy.
Yeah, Minecraft guy.
Steve.
Did you see the other announcement?
No.
From earlier this week.
What announcement?
Microsoft bought.
Bethesda.
They bought the company that owns Bethesda,
ZeniMax.
Media. ZeniMax.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's very crazy to me. I have a lot of thoughts on it, but they're all positive. Like, what do you think about it?
I'm super excited. One, I think it's hilarious that a bunch of PlayStation exclusive games are actually just made by Microsoft now. I always think it's even funnier that Nintendo also was like, and then we partnered with Microsoft to bring you Steve from Minecraft. Like, it blows my mind because of how, in my head, like how aggressive the like console war actually is. But then like when you look at it now, it's like, oh yeah, and then Microsoft is just like, wheeling and dealing almost. Like, damn, that's a... Like, I don't know, that's a flex, but I think it's cool to see crossover. I don't like having exclusives because it means I can't play certain things. I would love if everything was available everywhere so that I could play everything.
Do you know actually if, like, has it been announced they're going to keep putting like Fallout on PlayStation?
Microsoft said that they are going to be, I don't know, actually. I think it is going to be available everywhere. I think they're going to do it. I don't remember what they said, but I think they're going to handle it on like a case-by-case basis. So that might mean that like stuff that was historically available everywhere is just going to continue to be available everywhere. And stuff that isn't available wasn't like available everywhere. Yeah, like or like things that are new might not be available too.
Well, like what if Elder Scrolls, the next one, is only available on Xbox or something?
Nah, listen, I'm fine with Microsoft doing Xbox exclusives because it's available on PC. I don't give a fuck if it's only available on PC. Yeah. I don't like that it's like, and then The Last of Us is only available on PlayStation because I can't play it. I don't know anything about it. I don't have an opinion on it. Or like all the Nintendo games that everyone's super hyped on, like I can't play. Like when everyone was super into Animal Crossing and stuff, and like, oh, the hype around that game was super crazy, and like all my friends who play Nintendo games were like, yeah, like it's awesome. I like it. Like look at my island. Like look at these beetles and my turnips and whatever. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna continue to play World of Warcraft and like League of Legends or whatever alone.
Yeah, but like World of Warcraft is a PC exclusive, so someone who just has a Switch,
they can't play that. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is I don't like exclusivity.
I am the opposite. I think exclusivity is the entire reason that you would have anything interesting come out of anybody. Because if I make a game, so there's a PlayStation, there's an Xbox, there's a Switch. I make a game that needs a controller to be played. The three of them have controllers. Whatever, that's fine. I release it on all three. The game runs and looks similar on all three. What's the point of there being three of them? Why would Nintendo keep making a console? Why would Microsoft keep making a console? They have kind of an interest in having something unique to them. I mean, the new Xbox and the new PlayStation are essentially the same thing. But I would say Nintendo is kind of in their own lane. Yeah,
Nintendo is a little bit off on the wild side. There's just no way for me to play Nintendo games, and that kind of bums me out.
You could buy a Nintendo console,
but I can't hold it for long enough to like play. Like I'd only be able to play it in like an hour increment, and that's not really like a fun way to play a lot of games.
That's a specific thing for me. Your accessibility stuff. Yes, true. Also, the fact that Nintendo has a console that's half portable, half not, with detachable controllers and a touchscreen allows something like Ring Fit Adventure or Mario Maker or a bunch of other stuff that they have that's kind of unique to their console. And if everything was available everywhere, you would limit the creative freedom that someone has by putting something, and you remove the incentive for any competition between consoles.
That's true. Also, I don't care if there's any competition between consoles. I just want to play fun stuff. And right now, I feel like, for a long time, it felt like games that came out on Xbox, like Halos, only came out on Xbox. You couldn't even play on PC for a long time. That really sucked because it'd be like, well, okay, like I guess I can't play Halo Reach unless I like play it in an hour-long increment. So I had to play Halo Reach, and like I played it for an hour, then I had to like wait till the next day and like play it for an hour. And it took me forever to beat it. Like that kind of sucked for me. And like all the PlayStation games since PlayStation 3, like Uncharted, which is apparently like this incredibly cool game that everyone and their mother is like, this is like one. I think it won like best game of the year every year it's come out. Like incredible series. I've never played even a single one.
Yeah.
And that bums me out. I'd love to play those games, but I don't want to play games in just an hour here and then like a day later, an hour here. I just lose interest. I lose focus.
That's a specific thing for you.
For me, yeah, it is specific to me, and that's why I'm saying I don't care about consoles even existing. The only one that I think is like Nintendo always has been like on the wilder side almost. It feels like the Wii was totally different, and then now the Switch is totally different.
Yeah.
And
I've kind of the Wii U. No one gives a fuck about the Wii U.
Oh, I don't remember if the Wii U was different.
It was the touch screen.
Oh, really? I never saw anything about it. It does bum me out that I can't play the Nintendo games, but at the same time, it's like I've kind of like just accepted the fact that I'll likely never play Nintendo games again.
Yeah.
I'll like watch them be played, but I can't play them.
So for like Last of Us and Uncharted and all these other kinds of games, God of War or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's another one I would really like to have played. I watched my brother play that game because I wanted to play it, but I couldn't.
So like if I have an idea for a game and I am a developer and whatever, I don't have the money to make the game the way that I want to make it. And then someone like Sony comes along and says, we'll give you the money to make it, but make it exclusive to our console. You're one, allowing the game to exist. You're letting me make the game I want to make. And two, the only downside for me is I have to put it on your console, but I don't know if that's always a downside because I'm probably going to get some sort of marketing push, like helping each other help themselves.
Yeah.
If you didn't have, like, Sony only wants to give you that money because they want to show everybody that their console can play your game, and only their console can play your game. If you remove that incentive, no one's incentivized to give you money for your game unless it's actually like you go around shopping to publishers who are going to put it on the uniconsole. But the uniconsole is like designed by committee or whatever, because you have the head of everybody who is interested in making games making the most boring ass thing that everybody can kind of abide by.
See, I don't think that that's necessarily true, because if you look at games that like PC games, that's basically the uniconsole. No, like that's the like. There's not even anyone in charge of what is made up on the plate on like Microsoft. Like you can get any, as long as the parts fit, they work together, then you're good to go. And that's like the console. I think that there's like a depth of games on that, especially like indie developers, that's been really big this last few years.
What's the Last of Us equivalent on PC?
There isn't one. That's what bums me out. I'm saying. Yeah, but the only reason that there isn't one is because Sony's like, no, it's on ours only. If Sony was like, it's on ours, but also PC, I'd be totally fine with that. If they were like, listen, it can be on ours or PC, but cannot be on Xbox, I'd be like, that's totally fine. I think they should always put every game that could be put on PC so that I can play it if I want to. Because your boy here has been playing League of Legends and World of Warcraft for years and years, and I'm tired of it. I'm actually might be a little addicted to League of Legends, and I can't stop myself at this point.
This dude says he watches people play it for 9 hours a day, and he says he might be addicted.
Okay, all right. Fair enough.
Yeah, I hard disagree, but that's okay. I still love you.
I'm just excited for more stuff to be on Windows.
Fuck Windows.
It's the only way I can play games, man. I'm not gonna bite the hand that feeds in this case.
I want Valve to finish that like Linux compatibility stuff so I can completely abandon Windows forever, because I hate Windows.
If they did, I probably would I would at least start with a partition, a Linux partition, and see how that goes.
That's how I lost my BIOS.
Yeah, but you do. Listen, you've had more problems on your computer than I've ever had in my whole life. Like, I don't know what you do with your computer, but it's like, yeah, and then like, I don't know, my sound driver stopped working for some reason, and I had to like go call tech support. And they were like, we got to direct you to like the mayor of Townsville, and the mayor of Townsville has to send a carrier pigeon to India, and then they call China up, and then it goes to Russia, and then it's back to you, and you're good now. Like what? Like when I have a problem on Windows, it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like the update things is forcing me to restart my computer, and then I do, and it's like, and now you're good to go.
I don't know, man. I don't do anything weird on my computer, but I'm on a Microsoft support forum at least once a month. And then you have to read through all 17 answers from someone who starts off with the, hello, I'm sorry to hear you're having problems with Windows Update. It's like, fuck you. Just tell me what to do. And it's like, yeah, try the Windows troubleshooter. That didn't work. It's a fucking surprise. Like, I hate Windows.
I know you do.
I hate Windows.
Listen, I totally respect the dislike for Windows, because I think that having Linux as a realistic competitor would make it better. So
it is, except for games. That's the only reason I have Windows.
That's a big except when like 99% of the population has at least played a game.
That's why I'm hoping for Valve's magic, whatever they're working on to make games run on Linux, even if it's at a 10%, 15% compatibility hit or performance hit. And Linus Tech Tips, they have a video on like the current state of that stuff, and they were playing Windows games on Linux, and it's still kind of busted, but at least there's progress being made. Like the day they come out and say there's 95% compatibility with your existing library, I'll even throw away my Xbox just to give them an extra fuck you. I hate their stuff.
Oh, you really don't like Michael himself, huh? No. Michael Soft himself.
Michael Soft.
I don't know. I'm excited to see what they do with that, because I think that there's a lot of cash infusion when a big... I guess that this is the second largest purchase in the video game sphere ever. The number one was a company in China buying something else. I don't remember.
Tencent.
It might have been Tencent buying somebody else, but yeah, I don't remember. This is a huge amount of money being thrown around in gaming. Yeah. So I'm excited to see like what comes out of this.
I want Wolfenstein, Doom, and Fallout exclusive to Xbox just to say fuck you, easy.
Do you know how butthurt I would be if they were like, and then the new Elder Scrolls come out? Because I love Elder Scrolls, and they were just like, and the new Elder Scrolls comes out, but you can't play it on PC. I'd be
it would be on PC.
So butthurt. Yeah. I would actually I'd record my own episode of this podcast just yelling at Microsoft. I'd be so sad. Because I love Elder Scrolls, the series. I don't play Elder Scrolls Online because MMOs are not where I have fun, even though I play World of Warcraft still.
Okay. That doesn't make sense to me, but okay.
When you have a problem, step one is admitting you have a problem. I'm not quite to step two when you're trying to fix the problem. I just know I have one.
Yeah, maybe I should never get into WoW. This is actually what I said a long time ago. Or when you started like, yeah, I started playing WoW, and I was like, is this the start of a problem, like a dark path or whatever? You're like, no, it's just a little
Yeah, it kind of did. I think the darker path for me was starting to play League of Legends again, because legitimately, when I was prepping for that tournament, I only played that game for 10 days straight, which meant I couldn't play League of Legends. On the 10th day, I was like, I could really go for a game of League of Legends. And I was like, wait a second. That's like asking to be verbally abused for like an hour. I don't know if I really want this. But then I was like, the moment the 11th day came, the day of the tournament after I was done with it, I was like, now we play League of Legends. And I got yelled at, and it was what it was. I don't know.
It was dark.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship with that game, and I can't stop, and I don't know how to stop.
I have no advice for you except play better games.
I want to play other games real bad, but I can't.
So, like, I had this with Geometry Wars, but I had an end goal. I think the darkness is when you don't.
My goal was to hit plat.
Okay.
Which meant that I had to go from gold 2 to gold 1 to plat. I went from gold 2 to gold 3 to gold 4. I went the other direction, and it doesn't. And I'm like, I don't know if I should keep trying or if I'm going to drop the silver. Because if I drop the silver, I know I'm going to just grind my way back up into. Like, I'm going to play during work hours or whatever it takes to get back into gold, and that's like a dangerous problem to have.
Gain 50 pounds, lose your job.
Yeah.
Go down that path.
Yeah, I would
start streaming to try to make up the income.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be dark.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to stop myself. I already move on to the point of this episode, though.
Yeah, it's been a while. This is probably going to be a long episode.
It is. It is.
But yeah,
so this is the part of the episode where we actually inform our listeners about who we are and what's going on with our relationship.
Which is uncomfortable for me, at least, because I don't know how to talk about myself.
Yeah, that's why I have the questions.
Yeah.
I spent some time thinking about how we would organize this, because if I was just like, tell me about yourself, I know that is going to go poorly, and I know I don't know. I blank immediately when I get asked that question.
That's the worst job interview question, is tell me about yourself. I immediately want to leave when that comes up.
Well, my problem is that when people say to tell me about themselves, I just talk to them about my hobbies, which is just like a laundry list at this point.
Yeah, I've just started saying where I live.
What? Tell me about yourself. Well, I live in Arizona. That should tell you a lot about me.
Well, okay, so like especially, well, whatever. I don't want to go off track.
Yeah.
Let's do the questions.
So the way I had this imagined, we go reverse chronological order, right? So we start with who we are now, and then we work our way backwards. And I was going to ask you, what would you say your percentage breakdown is of who you are? So let me give you my current example, right? So as of today, I'd say I'm like 5% regular person, 60% kind of like nerd, awkward person, 10% dog owner, 10% outdoor enthusiast, and 10% sports person.
Does that add up to 100?
I hope so, because in my head it did.
Okay,
I have 3 10s, a 65, and a 5, which means 70 plus 3 10. Yeah, okay, that's 100.
Okay. I would say I'm 10% luck, 20% skill. I'm just joking.
How much concentrated power of will?
15%
there we go.
Concentrated power of will. No, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I often think about, like, there was a Joe Budden podcast where he talked about, like, who are you? Like, talking about to his coworkers or co-hosts. And it's kind of a hard question because I don't know how to do that. Like, just say like what I'm about. You know what I mean? Like what I do. I am very focused on my family. It's a big thing. I would say that's like personal relationships. I consider family to be like you and my family. Family, people like love and care about.
Better watch out, Synovia. That's all I'm saying.
I would say personal relationships are like 50% of what I care about, like 50% of me. The rest of it is like trying to better myself and trying to enjoy myself. So 25 and 25. I just to be like simple about it. I don't have an actual breakdown.
I see.
I care very deeply about the people I care about. I want to be better at the things I do, which include, programming and building things and understanding things and learning about things in the world around me and things like that. And then I get stressed out by that 25. So the other 25 is trying to relax and trying to enjoy things, which is difficult sometimes.
Yes.
So I would say that maybe 10% of this is stress ball and 15% is enjoyment. But that's kind of where that split is,
I see.
I constantly am worried.
Yeah. I feel a little bit odd now because I was like, I had no people in mind. I'm like 100% interest in hobbies.
Because you're talking about you, what you do, and I'm interpreting it differently.
That is true. But I also, it's kind of odd to say this on a podcast with a very close friend. I don't know. You
don't care about me?
No, I do care. The problem is that I do care about other people, but I'm like so insular about my care for other people sometimes that like I forget about like I forget that I care about other people, and whenever I'm talking about like myself, I'm always like, and here's all of the shit I'm into because I try to be into like so much stuff that if like I just shotgun it all out there and I'm like, hopefully some part of this you're also interested in so we can have a conversation, because I struggle really hard with talking to strangers.
Yeah, it's kind of like a version of wearing a brand on your shirt. You're trying to put something about you that others can relate to.
Yeah, it's like I hike and I rock climb and I run and I have a dog and I play video games and I write books and I read books and I'm a weird person, and I don't know, man. Like this, all I'm in like computers. I'm into computers.
And history.
And no, I never tell anyone I'm into history. I think if you say you're into history, and you're not talking to somebody in your major who's also a history major, has a lot.
Has what?
What?
What was the word you just said? Has a lot?
Is odd.
Oh. No, I'm intimidated by the people I know who are into history. There's one particular person who she's very nice. She's one of my good friends, but she is so smart. You know who she is. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about.
No.
But she intimidates me with how smart she is because she's like so into things that I have trouble. If someone's like, "What'd you do last week?" I'm afraid of answering because that's history, and I don't want to like.
I'm afraid of answering, but for an entirely different question. What did you do last week? I don't actually remember.
Yeah, because you could prove me wrong because you know shit that I don't. So I'd be like, "Yeah, I ate a ham sandwich," and she's like, "Actually, you whatever." It's like I don't know, I get intimidated by people who are into history, but whatever, I get that.
Yeah, I think it's just I would never introduce myself as being like, and I'm interested in history, because there's no chance in hell unless they're gonna start a conversation aside from just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I just try to go with like hobbies. I feel like other people are probably also into hobbies. Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like I have hobbies. Everyone has hobbies.
It's like a different thing of like how your 100% was composed of your hobbies because you interpreted the question as that. I interpreted it as a different thing, and 25% of mine was just hobbies. Kind of in that way. Like we're saying similar things.
Yeah, I don't actually know what percentage of me is hobbies. It's got to be a pretty big percentage. I think I'm more hobbies than you. That's for sure. I'm almost entirely hobbies.
I'm being too generous when I say 25 self-improvement and 25% hobbies, because realistically it's probably like 15% self-improvement, 10% wanting to be better and not doing shit.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah.
I think at some level my hobbies are about trying to get better.
About at your hobbies?
Just in general too.
Oh, just improvement.
Yeah, there's a quote from this is kind of very niche information, but there's a quote from a samurai in Japan from I think it's the Edo period.
History.
Yeah. He wrote the book of Seven Rings, which is that's a really famous book, and in it basically he went into the mountains, trained himself how to use a sword, came back out of the mountains as like a weird, dirty, crazy person, and proceeded to kill anyone who ever challenged him to a duel. Like he never lost a single duel for the rest of his life after this, and so he wrote a book about it, how he did that.
A real person really did this?
Yeah, Musashi.
Okay.
You should read it if you ever want to. But yeah, so one of the things he talks about is you have to know the way. Once you know the way broadly, you see the way in all things. Meaning, like if you have like a breadth of knowledge and you can like understand. Like if you can like learn a bunch of new things, then you can understand like the way to move forward. And I kind of like agree with that approach. So I just try to like learn as much as I can about as many things as possible.
But there has to be a stopping point.
No.
Because there's only so much time.
Yes.
If you get 5% understanding of everything you encounter, when you die, you will still not have learned about everything. Ooh. And you won't know much about anything.
So here's the problem with that. Everything isn't insular. Learning about rock climbing makes you a better hiker. Learning about running makes you a better developer.
It's all connected, bro.
It is. And I think that's kind of like the point. It's like if you have an enormous base, when you go to learn something else, you're like, oh, and like this is from this other thing that I know, and this is from this other thing that I know, and then like, okay, and then you can like piece it all together to get like a more solid base than anyone who like than a regular person just like starting this thing out. And then you also know how to like learn. So like that's kind of like the approach, right? Okay. It's like when you go from not knowing how, like not being able to run 5K to being able to run 5K in 30 minutes. That's like a huge process to undertake, and you have to learn how to like pace yourself and how to change your diet and how to like do the exercises for it and practicing every day and stuff like that. So once you learn all of that stuff and like learning how to like control the desire to eat chocolate cake and instead I'll have a protein shake because I'll need that to recover after my run. Like all that stuff like plays into itself.
Yeah. I get that, I think. But I don't know.
But you are right that there's a limited amount of time, which frustrates me to some degree.
Yeah, there's going to be a point at which you have to focus on something. And even if it's all connected, at a certain point, if I want to be better at analyzing runtime complexity of node processes me learning about gardening doesn't necessarily help unless I'm like on acid when I do
it. So it's not. So the idea isn't that it's like a 1-to-1 thing, right? It's like learning. It's like getting better at so learning how to garden won't make you better at knowing runtime on Node, right? But what it will do is it'll teach you how to like be dedicated to learning how to do that, and then you know how to learn, which is like that's like the base step. Then when you go to like understand how node processes work, you know, like, oh, if I devote like an hour a day for this period of time, I can probably like figure out like this much, or like, oh, like I'm really not getting this concept. So then you work more at it. Like, you know, you learn how to like do all that stuff. And also like, you'd be surprised how much physical activity helps. So even if you are learning the node process, getting out there and gardening might be like the key to you actually learning how to do that.
We were talking before we actually started the podcast about a rap song I scrapped, but the frugal bars, Google stars, thought of that when I was lifting weights. Something happens, you know?
Yeah.
Just kind of goes. I get that.
Yeah. It's actually like a big thing. I guess a lot of writers, not Ernest Hemingway, he drank a lot. Same. Well, actually, Ernest Hemingway too, because he drank a lot, but he also like was a matador in Spain and ran with the bulls and hunted lions in Africa and like did all kinds of crazy stuff, and all of that meant he could write books about those things, and like, and he lived in Cuba and was a fisherman in Cuba, which is how he could write Old Man in the Sea and stuff like that. Like, I don't know.
Have a breadth of experiences to flesh out who you are.
Yeah. Like, I like that.
Yeah.
It's like every year since high school ended, basically, I've taken up a new hobby.
Yeah.
And I've really liked it. I've like devoted myself to that hobby, which is why I have like a crazy amount of hobbies at this point, because it's been like 5 years.
That's good though. So have you ever found a hobby where you thought you'd be into it and then you learned that you were very much not, and you just abandoned it?
Yoga.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did yoga for 4 months, and I was like moderately into it, and then I realized like I wasn't into it enough that I cared to put more effort into it. Is what it came down to.
You did it by yourself here, or like in class?
I did it by myself to begin with, because I was like, I need to have some base understanding, because I'm awkward as a person, but I don't like going into new experiences completely blank. So like, for example, I went axe throwing with my family for 2 days. Before I went axe throwing with my family, I watched YouTube videos on how to do axe throwing, and so when we went axe throwing, I was the best at axe throwing, not because I have skill at axe throwing, but because I watched so much about axe throwing that I understood like roughly what I was trying to do. I'm kind of like that about a lot of things. So I did yoga here for like 2 months, and then I did yoga at a yoga studio. I went to like a yoga class and did it there. But it felt different, because when I was rock climbing, for example, every day the only thing I was thinking about was like, I have to improve my grip strength, my back strength, like my shoulders need to get stronger, I need to balance better, like my calves aren't strong enough, my knees aren't strong enough, like I need to get better hiking shoes, my center balance, like I need to work on that, and like all that stuff. When I was doing yoga, I was just like, breathe, enjoy, and I don't know, it was a different thing, and I was not as into it as anything else. That's why I don't really say I was into yoga anymore. Because I was like casually into yoga.
I did yoga just once, in a group of people, and decided I will never do this again.
The one thing I wanted to take away from yoga, I ended up not taking away from yoga, which is when I do something that demands a lot of attention, I hold my breath. And that's really not good when you're doing something that demands a lot of attention.
Control your breath better? Or like?
I wanted to be able to breathe while I'm doing other things. So like when I'm rock climbing, I will hold my breath during a lift, right? So like if it's a real power move, like I really need to like pull myself up, I'll hold my breath doing that, which means that I'd run out of gas real fast. I don't have the endurance because of it.
Okay.
So I wanted to learn how to do that, because yoga is all about like breathing through and like maintaining focus. And I got the maintaining focus part out of it, did not get the breathing part. Still to this day, when I play League of Legends, before I do something, I will hold my breath. And everyone who has played with me knows that when I hold my breath, I'm doing something.
Yeah, I've heard that over the mic, and I think in real life too, you do a...
Yeah, I do that. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not good. It also means like when I go swimming and stuff, it's not good. Because if I need to really like put effort into the stroke, I'll hold my breath instead of breathing in and out. And I get real gassed real fast.
Gassed?
Gas. Yeah, that's what they use in like UFC.
Okay.
Like the fighter is gassed, like means they're like out of it,
Okay.
exhausted.
It's a different type of slang in hip hop music. So that's.
Oh really? What is gassed in hip hop?
It's like hyped or something. It's like gassed off the.
Wow,
Yeah,
there's
it's like
actually
the
two
opposite.
different. Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know there are two different slangs for that.
I think at least from what I understand.
I wanted to go back a couple years though, right? Because let's go back to college. Would you say that your percentage breakdown was different than it is now?
It was more focused on the self-improvement and less on the entertainment. But the 50% personal, like the personal relationships, like caring about my family has always been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I will fight people.
I've seen it.
So that's always been a thing for as long as I can remember, about my family and my friends being protective of that kind of stuff. And in college, in particular, I was focused on the self-improvement because I needed to do well in college. If I didn't, I saw that as like absolute failure.
Mm-hmm.
So like my family didn't have like a lot of money and stuff. So it was like, I'm the first person to go to college. I barely graduated high school. I actually barely got into college. And I needed to focus and shift all of my attention into being okay at school, or else in my head, and this is a problem I think of growing up with everybody telling you need to go to college and you need to do X, Y, and Z. Because in my head, if I didn't get a degree in computer science, I would be homeless, which is like not necessarily true.
The only two options are computer science or death.
Yeah. I have an aversion to competition in real life too. Like I like competition in games,
Mm-hmm.
but if it's anything where I have to actually exist in a world where I'm competing with people, I just step back and give up because I don't like competing. So that's the only reason I did computer science, is because I wanted to do psychology. But because of the sheer number of people who graduate with psychology degrees, I didn't want to be competitive with those people or in competition with those people. So I just did computer science thinking that's the only way I could ever like do anything in my life. So I needed to focus. That's kind of how it was in college for me. I did okay in college.
You did really well.
I did okay. I had a Ukrainian calculus teacher who like really put like the motivation in me. I remember she kept saying, "You need to work hard, and learn the calculus." When she said calculus, like stuck in my head too. She basically, I didn't understand math from high school until I got to Calc 2. When I got to Calc 2, she like, well actually this was Calc 1, and she like forced me to care about what I was doing, and I knew that I had to care about what I was doing because math and computer science are very intertwined.
Yeah.
So that was the whole thing of like, I just need to do well.
That makes sense. I like that.
What about you? Was your percentage breakdown different?
Yeah, I was like 100% nerd. I didn't know anything. I didn't realize that I needed something else. I thought that like I was totally fine just playing video games all day and like writing code or whatever, but I realized like I'm not actually that kind of person. Like honestly, like if I could give up playing video games entirely and just be an outdoorsy person, I would probably do that, but I cannot.
Why not?
Too hot. And also that's actually like the primary reason is it's too hot, and also like there's a physical limitation on your body when it comes to physical activity where it doesn't feel like there is when you're doing computer stuff, but there is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different kind. So yeah, they're like those things combined. I have to have like another, so I don't know. I think that I didn't know who I was going to become in college.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like 100%. I was like, yeah, and I'm like, I love coding. Like I live and breathe code, and I live and breathe computers and writing games and like playing games and all that stuff. And then like, it's really like only after that I was like, hiking is super cool. I like that. Let me get into that more. Rock climbing is like, oh wow, like that's amazing. And then like just keeping adding on to like this other, like trying like more stuff and just
Finding who you are and kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I don't like the term finding who you are.
Developing who you are.
Well, because I don't really think that there is a you to find. I think you construct who you are. Mm-hmm. And I think like constructing who I am to be less of a nerdo was better for me.
But do you think that like there is some kind of sense of finding or whatever? Because do you think that you could have developed yourself into like a stripper?
Yeah.
Like if you really wanted
Give it
to?
enough time. Listen, give it enough time, motivation. You probably could become anything, but
Yeah, but would you want to?
my initial response is no. So here's the thing, right? I don't think I found myself in that. Like I found that I wanted to be more of an outdoorsy person. I think like I enjoyed hiking the one time I went hiking out of college. Like it was like right outside of college, and I was like, I like this. I would like to do more of it. And then when I started to do more of it, I think then I was like, oh, but I need to like know these other things like when I go hiking. Like I need to know what a snake looks like. I need to know like what animals I should and shouldn't run into. I need to like get hiking gear, which means I need to like go to REI, which means like I'm now in like that community. Like I think like I built myself into an outdoorsy person, and it was just like what I liked about hiking initially was that when you go out there, you are out there. It's like the way I would describe it is like in a video game, when you get into a spot where you're just like like there's no way out of this easily. I'm just gonna like go back to my last save. Like when you're playing like I don't know, Fallout or Oblivion, and you're like, I'm gonna save the game and then just kill everybody in this town, and then I'm gonna reload it just to like blow off some steam or whatever, or just see if I can do it. That's what hiking is like, but you don't get to like reload back to the previous save. You have to now crawl your way out. Like you have to like figure out how to get out of this situation.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about it. But yeah.
It could be dire in real life, though, in a way that I think you would enjoy, but is terrifying.
I really do.
Yeah.
I really do like the sense of imminent death that comes when you're many miles from civilization and something goes mildly incorrect.
Yeah, I had that feeling when Synovia got us stuck on that mountain last year, and I was like, Jesus, we're gonna die.
Yeah.
In that moment, I think you would have enjoyed.
You don't, it's not that I enjoy it and like I get pleasure out of it. It's more like I feel alive. Like it's exhilarating, and you have to be like so in control of yourself. Yeah, like you are in that moment to a degree that I don't experience normally. It's why I like playing video games, is because you're not in any one moment. Like you're just in the video game. Like you physically aren't aware of your body, and you're just in the video game. Whereas like when you're in those moments, like hyper aware of everything around you, like where your feet are, like what the temperature is, like where the wind's blowing.
Yeah.
What does it smell like?
Your instincts kind of kick in, and you have to go off of them.
Yeah, I love that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. So I think like in college, I didn't know how to I didn't know what I was going to construct myself into in my own terms. Like I didn't know, and I was trying to force myself maybe into a box that I shouldn't have. But what I am glad about back then was that I had friends who were great and maintained.
They were great. Now,
yeah,
it's Joseph.
And Joseph's out here. No, no, yeah. That's honestly like probably one of the big constants is like my family and my friends from like high school till now have been the same. So it's been like that's probably the most consistent part, and I wonder if those weren't there, I don't know what would have happened exactly. So I don't know.
Yeah, the people thing is super important. When you're just left by yourself, you don't have people to help you get to what you need to do, then you just go off the fucking deep end, you know? There's no one there to like help you come back to normal or whatever, like a rock.
Yeah. I was going to ask about high school, but I'm going to be honest, I don't remember high school very well. So
I don't remember high school either. All I know is I almost didn't graduate because I didn't care. We went to like a very fancy college prep high school, and this was after coasting my entire life. And we got to high school, and I had to start trying, and I refused to try. See what I said earlier about the chemistry, crying in the closet, and not doing anything. I don't know if that was in the podcast or the pre-show, but whatever. So basically, from freshman year, and this was like the same mindset of like, I need to do well here to go to a good college, or else I will literally die on the streets. So when I got to freshman year, and we were reading Chaucer, I was like, man, fuck this. I'm going to die. You know? I'm not going to read this shit.
Yeah, we did. We read
Canterbury Tales.
Canterbury Tales.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. Anyway, I kind of just like high school was a mess for me because I started without trying, realized I had to try, and gave up, and somehow made it through 4 years of it. It was tough.
The high school was. I remember high school being hard.
Mm-hmm.
I remember certain parts of high school just being like, I don't know, I can keep this up.
I worked hardest, like the hardest I've ever worked in my life was in college, just trying to get shit going and get my classes, whatever. And I was also working and stuff, so it's just a lot happening. The second was probably high school, and the third is now. Like I don't work super hard. Like I work, but in terms of how hard my life is, it's not.
Yeah. I think legitimately college dealt like almost severe mental damage to me as a person.
Yeah.
And changed who I was going into college and coming out of college. I think I was like 3 different people. Yeah. Like legitimately, like somebody died. Like 2 of me died before I left college. Like the Yazeed who left college and the Yazeed who entered college and the Yazeed in the middle. Like they're so different.
I think I have that same thing, but in high school. I think in high school, I like have lasting mental damage from high school because of the pressure and the stress and all that kind of stuff from that.
Yeah.
Which prepped me for college, maybe for the better, because I kind of did okay, like I said, in college.
You know what's really funny is that I actually think that I got your high school experience in college, because in high school I didn't really have to try except for a couple classes. So
you were the guy setting the fucking curve or whatever in all of the history classes, and I was the guy at the bottom end of all that shit.
Yeah. I'm just naturally really good at memorizing that kind of information. It's I don't know if I enjoy it necessarily, which is why I don't know if I like history or if I just naturally can pick up that information and then you go with it.
Mm-hmm. You also played like Total War and shit before, so you had
Total War.
You had like a familiarity with names,
with a lot
places.
of stuff. Yeah, that is also part of it. I don't know. I don't know. So I think in college I had to learn to try. When I did, I think I definitely for some parts of college I didn't want to try, and I had to be dragged across the finish line by you.
That was that one project in particular where we were up till like 3 a.m. or whatever.
There were a couple we were up super late. Actually, some of my favorite stories are when we were up really, really late or very early in the morning, depending, and either working on that or playing Rainbow Boys.
Yeah.
And there was sometimes that was the same night.
Yeah, it was like, oh, we gotta play games to take a break from this bullshit, knowing that realistically we weren't gonna go back to the bullshit because we didn't want to do it.
Or we finished the bullshit and then we were like, and now we celebrate by playing video games in front of the computer for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Where we were for the last 8 hours.
Yeah. College was a weird time, especially for the programming stuff, because like we are doing this professionally now, and we have this side thing where we do programming and record ourselves programming, and I don't think I know a lot of terminology and stuff like that, but I do think I understand how to write code and how to build things, which is cool. At the start of college, I didn't know shit.
No, I didn't know anything.
You had to carry me through all of our programming classes, and that was really rough. All like the learning programming, that initial hurdle was so hard.
Yeah.
Until it just kind of happened.
Once it clicks, it's like a different kind of click.
Yeah. It's just recursion.
It's just recursion. Can I tell you something?
Sure.
I think I hate programming.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot. Like 2 weeks ago, I was like, how hard is the MCAT? Maybe I just give it a go and I just try to become a doctor instead. I legitimately don't know what has happened to me over the last like 6 months, but I hate programming.
Is it maybe seeing Reis do well in his eye doctor stuff and you realize, oh, I can do that?
No, because I don't think I can do that. I don't think I know what he can do.
Yeah.
Because Reis is like such a easygoing, personable person that he fits that job really well, I think. I would never tell him any of this in real life. This is the power of being an older brother. You say the meanest stuff and they just are like, oh, that person loves me. At least I hope that's how he takes it. I'm not trying to be mean to him normally, but I am, but in like a roundabout way.
We love Reyes. Everybody loves Reyes.
I don't think I can do that. I wanted to be like, I was like, I still right now am like, what if I just quit, went to med school, and became like an ER doctor? Because you don't really have to interact with people there.
Yeah.
That's more of like they may or may not be conscious kind of doctor, you know?
Yeah, no one cares about how friendly the person saving their life was.
Yeah. So like that's what I would want to do, I think. But then I was talking to another friend of ours. You might not have met him, but Ryan, he is prepping to do the MCAT. And I was like, what's on the MCAT? And it's like chemistry, physiology, biology. And I was like, shit, I don't know. Okay. So that was like 2 weeks ago now. And now I'm like, what if I just start buying MCAT study guides and I just start reading and learning how to be a doctor? And then I take the MCAT and pass it. And then I become a doctor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, if you want to do that, you should do that.
Yeah, but do I actually hate programming, or is this just like a panic buy thing?
Well, I don't know. You should go climb rocks and learn about this.
I feel like I'm being a BM right now. It's too hot to go. First of all, I don't have a partner to go rock climbing with anymore. So rock climbing is kind of out the window for me until I find somebody who also likes to rock climb. And it's a little bit hot to hike. But I'm hopeful within the next few weeks it'll cool down and I can go hiking again with dog.
Yeah, well, it is October, so one would hope that it's not 100 degrees anymore. But
Jesus,
here we are.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I don't know. I think I have the ups and downs too. I think for me particularly, I get that I hate programming when I'm starting a new job and I'm kind of at the first 3 months or so, and I hit this wall, and it happens in every job I've ever had, where I say, this is not a thing I can do. I don't belong here. I don't belong with these people doing this thing. I actually don't even like this shit in the first place. Like, it's like this thing where I tell myself that because I'm not understanding something in the moment, I take that to, I don't understand this in general, which I then take to, everybody around me understands this and I'm with them. I don't belong here. And then I take all of this negativity into, I don't like this, which is my excuse for sucking at it. But that comes in ups and downs. Yeah,
I honestly don't know what is going on, because the other thing too is I wonder how much of it is just I've been stuck here for months at a time.
In the house, you mean?
Yeah, just trying to figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't take the MCAT route. In college, I definitely had a moment like this too, where I was like, this is all shit. What if I just quit? I think it was like my third year or fourth year. I was like, what if I just quit school? I could just move to another country and like work as a bartender or something. And I was like, realistically, I can't do that because I don't have the person. Like, I can't talk to people, so I'd be a real shit bartender.
With the rag in the glass, like, hey, here's your fucking night, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't even know what to say to people. I'd be a terrible bartender.
What's got you down?
Yeah.
Type stuff.
Yeah. So this might be just that again.
Yeah.
And it's impossible for me to tell sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I had that in college. I always said that in college that I wanted to quit and go work at a record store.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
I think you still would love to do that.
I would love to do that. But like it's a thing where I just know that working at a record store doesn't like make a lot of money. Yeah. So it's kind of like, oh, well, I can't do that. I would love to just do fun shit. But then working at a record store doesn't necessarily just mean fun. You have to still work at a store, like manage things and inventory and talk to people that suck and whatever. Like every job is going to have shitty parts. It's not just something as the romantic idea in my head of talking about records all day. That's not what working anywhere is.
Yeah. I think that's like the kid who wanted to grow up.
GameStop.
Yeah, or be a video game tester, which is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
My mom was like, you can never make money playing video games. I was like, there's a video game tester position. You can make money. And then I looked into it and I was like, you don't make that much money. That's like minimum wage. Or above. Yeah. Well, actually with NDAs it could be higher, but you have to show that you've been a game tester for a while before you get to the level, I think.
And you would play games that aren't out yet, which you think is cool, but you play them until you hate them and you see them in their worst state.
Yeah, there was an interview with one, I don't remember, this is like a long time ago. I think maybe on like the old whatever channel X Play was on, like Tech TV or G4 or whatever, and they're talking to like a dude, and he was just like, yeah, I ran into like the wall for 8 hours straight. He was just like, I ran into every wall in a room for 8 hours just to see if I could force my way out. And I was like, I think that was when I was like, okay, that's not for me. I don't have that kind of mental fortitude to run into a wall for 8 hours a day. Yeah. And hopefully I break out.
And it's like, well, I could just listen to music the whole time. It's like, no, you got to listen to the game about sound bugs.
It's yep.
Like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
To focus the whole time.
You have to be like in the zone. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awful, I think.
Yeah. I don't know.
But also working at GameStop also sounds like it would be kind of awful, honestly.
Yeah, well, I guess my point is that it doesn't matter what you're doing for a job because it's always a job.
Yeah.
Nothing is going to be 100% fun all the time, even if you're working on something cool.
What if I became a world famous rock climber?
That's different. But then there's still the thing about your manager telling you that you have to do something for a sponsorship and you got to go do a fucking Snickers commercial. I'm hangry. All this other bullshit. You have to do things you probably don't want to do.
Bruh, that actually, I never thought about that, and that's dangerously true. Shit. All right.
Everything is a job.
No one's off the menu.
Yeah.
Because I can't be on camera.
And I'm sure there will be days where you just don't want to do anything. But the reality is, like, you have to do something for money. You have, like, obligations. You have to show up. You have to do the thing.
Yeah.
You have to.
Well, there's, like, there's a documentary on Alex Honnold, who's, like, one of the best rock climbers in the world right now. Mm-hmm. And he legitimately, like, sneaks into Yellowstone National Park to go rock climbing every day.
And does he document this?
Yeah.
Seems
So I think the deal is like you can stay in Yellowstone for 7 days max, and he just sleeps in a van outside of Yellowstone, and then he hikes into Yellowstone to Half Dome, which is like a really famous mountain in Yellowstone. And then he climbs it, and he goes home to his van.
That sounds cool. You could do that.
I don't think I can live in a van. I don't think I could live in a van. I also don't have the grip strength to do that.
Just gotta work on your grip strength, you know?
Yeah.
Be the change you want to see in the world. I don't know.
I don't think I would want to be a rock climber professionally anyway.
Yeah. Every job sucks.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Maybe I just stick with this one. It's been pretty okay to me.
Yeah. It's you get to type for a living. That's like a great setup for someone like us who is maybe not very good at anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we done with the percentage breakdown?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think we're done with the percentage breakdown and the fun stories, honestly. We've been at this for like 4 hours.
This is going to be a very long episode. We're at 2 hours and 40 minutes on the recording. If you cut out the part where we listen to music, that's like 10 minutes. Cut out the pre-show, that's like 50. We're still almost at 2 hours, and we're not even at Song of the Week.
Nice. Do you want to tell them how we became friends, or do you want me to?
Okay, yeah, this is a fun one. So this is the last part of this getting to know us thing, last topic, I guess. But how we became friends. It's an interesting question because I don't know. I don't know how we became friends. We've generally alluded to the point at which you gained respect for me and I gained some sort of respect for you. Not that I don't respect you, but like I remember that day that we're going to talk about.
The way you worded that. I gained like a semblance of respect. It's close enough that I'll call it respect, but you're shit.
It's not what I'm saying. But okay, we have known each other since middle school. Technically, I knew of you in middle school. I don't know if we like knew each other.
I don't think we ever had a class together or anything.
Yeah, but like you're kind of there. And then in high school we had a mutual friend, and so we kind of had to spend a lot of time together, and our personalities did not mesh well. You have a very standoffish, like silent type thing when you meet someone, or at least you did.
Yeah.
When you met someone that you didn't know, you kind of just silently observe people.
Yeah.
And I was kind of a loud, obnoxious, how you say, dumbass. So us hanging out together just caused a lot of friction.
Yeah.
And we really didn't like each other.
No.
Where does that go from there?
So I think probably the first time I actually enjoyed being around you was what's really funny is I remember this part of my life really well. I remember you used to take my Capri Sun and my apple and you would stab it and you would just say the words sexy apple, but in like a childishly high-pitched voice. And that was the first time, and you did this like after like months of us eating lunch together. that was the first time I actually liked being around you because it was funny and like ridiculous and over the top. And like that was the first time I actually liked being around you, but I still didn't like you. So I was still like an asshole to you. And then the moment that I actually switched was I said something to you that I knew then I shouldn't say, but I know I will never say again. I said something to you. You got real mad. There was a possibility for a physical altercation, and in the middle of all of this, I made eye contact with you, and I was just like, "This man's my best friend one day." And after that, I was like, I have to make him my best friend. And I feel like in my head, it couldn't have changed the next day. I didn't like come in and be like super nice to you. Yeah. But in my head, that's exactly what happened. I think that was the moment I stopped being standoffish and I realized like you're a person.
And not just the sexy apple guy.
Yeah. I realized like you're a person with complex emotions and you just like I don't know. I don't know what about that moment made me want to be your friend because all indications should point to us at that point never speaking to each other or actually getting into a fight. But from that moment on, I think that we became friends.
Yeah, I don't remember from my side where it shifted either. I never really hated you. I just said a lot of mean things because you were.
I was mean to you. I was actually mean to you, though. Is the problem is I really did not like you or most of the other people we ate lunch with. I really only liked JC.
Yeah, JC. I knew JC. I've known JC since 6th grade, so that's why when we went to high school together, and Yazeed was JC's friend, I kind of just stuck it out because I liked JC so much, and I could tolerate Yazeed. And the sexy apple thing, yeah, I took your apple and took the straw from your Capri Sun, stabbed it, and said, "Sexy apple."
Yes.
And then I just had a song about it that I would just constantly do. And I thought it was stupid. Everybody laughed at it, so I just kept doing it. And then, yeah, that day, you said, I don't even remember what you said.
I don't remember exactly what I said. I know what the topic was about.
I remember the topic. And like I said earlier, there's certain things that really set me off, and it was in that list, and you knew it was in that list.
I did.
And you wanted to get me mad. When I got really mad at you, you have said before, you gained a respect for me.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting because it's weird how that works, but I get it. And I don't remember after that point when we started to like be best friends, but we kind of did.
Yeah. The problem is like it was long ago now, and I don't remember like the exact transition. I don't remember the transition period. I remember we went from really not liking each other that day, and like eventually it was like best friends. And the middle part could have actually been like a week, honestly. Yeah, like now that I think about it, like that middle part, that transition period could have been like insanely short given the animosity that was there.
That's the thing about being in high school is you're just like an emotional wreck the entire time.
Yeah.
It's just like all these
on top of the stress of like this is a college prep school with like a historically difficult course load where if you don't perform well enough, they like call you into an advisor's office and they're like, is this school the right school for you?
Yeah, I never had that, but I did have a parent teacher conference where I was crying. Because I did like it was the math. I always didn't get math. And my PE teacher, he gave me a Kleenex. I was like, this is embarrassing. Like, you guys don't need to see me cry. But yeah, high school did that to people. So like being an emotional mess, and then the stress of high school itself, and then just like, you know, not knowing anything. Just like, fuck, that's how you end up with sexy apple.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we did come away with a great friendship. And that's really... I think was probably the best. That was like the second best thing from high school was the friendship. The number one was, well, actually that might be the number one. I don't know what the number two is.
I don't remember what I got from high school besides friends.
I got into college from high school.
Yeah.
Which I guess is number two for me.
Yeah, within college. I don't know.
I didn't make any. I made one friend in college. So, well, I made one friend that I'm still friends with in college. So.
Yeah.
So I can't say that almost all of my friends are from high school.
It's interesting. I don't really have, I haven't made like a new close friend, and I made one close friend in college too. That's it. Everything else, everybody else I knew from either early high school or middle school, and they're still my friends.
Yeah. I think there's like a thing that we went through like a the weirdness of high school together.
Yeah. Yeah, high school is the worst time. I know middle school is the worst time.
Middle school, honestly, middle school is probably, I don't like middle schoolers. I think middle school is the worst time.
Yeah. I've told this to my family before or whatever, because they have young kids younger than me, right? And it's like, oh, kid doesn't like middle school. It's like, good. The kids who like were really enjoying middle school are not the kids that like.
Did anyone enjoy middle school?
Not the people that we're friends with, but I feel like middle school is shitty for everybody that I've ever known. And the kids I remember who like were cool in middle school are no longer that cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not cool today, me and you, but like we're doing okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, popular cool kids in middle school are not like.
You gotta be an odd dude,
Yeah,
an odd person to be cool in middle school is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I told my brother this. I was like, listen, if I ever have kids when they go to middle school, they're moving in with you. I can't deal with middle schoolers.
They're the worst.
I really don't. Yeah, my cousin is in middle school now, and he isn't like super middle schooly yet because he's in 6th grade, but he has those emotional swings. And I know that feeling, boy.
Yeah, it gets better.
Well, hopefully it gets better. Yeah. Well, and then also he's got that thing like he doesn't want. Middle schoolers get like attached to weird things. Like he wants to grow his hair out, like I think a lot of middle schoolers do, but he doesn't realize that we live in a literal hell desert, and his hair is similar to my hair, and that it retains heat very well. So he's gonna have a problem if his hair gets too long.
Dense.
Yeah, it's dense. And yeah, it retains. I imagine my hair would be amazing in like Russia because when it's very cold, my head retains all my body heat and I'm fine.
It's just a funny sentence. I think my hair would be amazing in Russia.
Do you have anything to add on to how we became friends?
No, like I said, I don't really know how we became friends. I just know the kind of general events around it, and I kind of that whole thing. Yeah. I'm glad we are friends. It's kind of interesting how life works out because now you're going to be the best man at my wedding, and we do this show every week, and we build this project together. I come to your house every week.
That's right.
And I used to fucking hate you.
Yeah, it is super weird. Yeah. I wonder if I went back in time and I spoke to younger version of Yazeed, and I was like, I wonder if me telling him that and Joseph's going to be like your best friend and you're going to be in his wedding as his best man, and like you guys are going to hang out together for like the next 10 years, or like it has to be longer. We've known each other for 13 years. 13 years. 4 years of high school, 4 years of college. That's 8. We've been out of college for like 4 or 5 years now.
What year is it?
2020.
We graduated high school in 2012. Yeah. Holy shit.
We've known each other like 14 years.
Okay. Yeah.
So
that's not wrong.
No, yeah. So
holy shit.
You know what I'm impressed by? I could do that. I did that math in my head. Yeah. I don't know if that would blow little Yazeed's head. I don't know what about my life now would blow his mind more than that, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't.
Maybe if I told him you went into computer science and you write code all day, that might blow his mind too, because at the time I wanted to go into marine biology. Yeah. And then if I also told them that literally in your senior year of high school, you'd be sitting in the car in the high school parking lot getting ready to go home and being like, I want to make money when I grow up. That's why you didn't do marine biology. I mean, that would blow his mind too.
Yeah. I don't even think I had the foresight to even plan about what I was going to be doing when I was 26 or whatever, when I was in high school or middle school. So I don't know if it would be surprising instead of just like very matter of factly. It's like, yeah, this is what happens. Instead of like, what, I was going to be an astronaut. Like, I never had that kind of a thing, you know?
Do you think your little Joseph would be surprised they would be friends? What do you think would surprise him more, that we became friends, so that you're still friends with JC? And JC and Alex.
Definitely surprised I'm still friends with Alex. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think ahead ever. So like, JC is the nicest person I've ever met in my life. So the fact that we're still friends, I don't think would have surprised me. But Alex, he's the guy that choked us for fun. And now we're friends.
Try to throw you through a window pane.
He did. Not through a pane, but anyway, the whole thing. A lot of interesting history with our friends, but I don't know if you showed me anything about my life today, been like, hey, middle school Joseph, I would have cared at all.
Do you think if you showed middle school Joseph a picture of Snowy and be like, this is gonna be the love of your life, like you love her more than you love your ding dong? I don't know. I blanked on what I would compare it to.
What did Joseph love? His ding dong.
I don't know. I didn't know what to compare it to. I'm sorry. It was the first thing that came to mind, which is maybe telling.
I don't know. It would have been surprised. I would, like I said, I didn't think that I'd be married to like Jennifer Aniston or whatever. I just was like coasting. I just wanted to play Halo. That's all I gave a fuck about.
Oh my god.
No. Is that it for About Us?
I think that is it for About Us.
Hopefully people enjoyed that or got anything out of it or anything.
I enjoyed it.
I had a good time. Is it time for Song of the Week?
It is.
Song of the Week. Okay. This was the week where we did song challenge stuff. So before we talk about what our song challenge stuff was, what did you think of my Song of the Week last week? Which was Franchise by Travis Scott featuring Young Thug and MIA.
Listen, the dance is hilarious. When you told me that she's wearing a flower ghillie suit in like a sheep pasture and just going for it, that's so funny. Knowing that she's older than me by a significant margin and just living the best possible timeline for herself, it makes it even better for me. There's a line in there where I don't remember the exact wording, but it's like you need more than Google search to find me. Like you need more than Google to find me. I think that's a really good flex in an otherwise bad song.
Okay.
I don't honestly nothing else in that song. I was like, I didn't find any part of it like interesting, like to me or anything like that. But that line stood out. The dancing stood out. The rest of the song was there.
It's funny because I had almost the exact same reaction when I first heard it. I was hyped up. Like I said, whenever I made it last week, when the video came out, I watched it like the minute it came out on the YouTube premiere. Was so excited. I love Young Thug, obviously. I used to be a bigger fan of Travis Scott, but I still really like him. And I listened to it and I was like, wow, that was underwhelming as fuck. Like, it was boring. The song starts and no one did anything with the song, is how I thought about it in the beginning. But the way that it works for me with like Young Thug in particular, there's one part of a song that'll hook on and it stays in my head. So for me, it was the part where he says, yeah, call the Sprite people. Because you mix Sprite with lean. I'm thinking that's what he's talking about.
Oh, okay.
Drug dealer people. I don't know.
I don't even remember that line, so this is all news to me.
and then he says, he shot him in his hands. He was typing. And he does this thing.
Yeah, okay.
So the way that Young Thug delivers lines sticks in my head, and makes me keep wanting to hear them over and over again. So me wanting to hear the Young Thug part made me listen to the song again, which made me pick up on more of the song itself and get an appreciation for the song. I'm not saying your opinion will change if you listen to it more. Totally get what you're saying. It's just that I had the same reaction, and then I listened to it more. And then I like MIA because I just like her accent. She's fun to listen to. Anyway, glad you listened to it. Glad you liked her flower suit doing this.
That cracked me up. I wasn't expecting it to be as over the top. When you described it as like a ghillie suit made of flowers, I was like, so it's like a ghillie suit with some flowers mixed in. No, it's a ghillie suit made of flowers. Like it is a lot of flowers, and it's not like it's like a thin amount of flowers too. Like unless she is like 600 pounds, that's a shit ton of flowers.
Well, there's a part where you see her without the suit on, and she just looks like
a
size person. But that suit makes sure it's like a sumo body.
Yeah, it's crazy how many flowers are on her. Also, she's just bopping, and the sheep are around her just
running,
flocking. Yeah.
I'm glad you listened to it. I think it's pretty good. I haven't listened to it much since I made it my song of the week.
Ooh.
But it is a good song.
It's there.
It's there.
I won't say it's a good song, but it was there. It was there. How did you like The Other Side of Paradise?
Yeah, Glass Animals, The Other Side of Paradise. I liked it quite a bit. It was actually kind of similar. I think it was last week or song week. I forget what it was, but it was more upbeat than I would have expected.
Yeah,
and it was kind of layered in a way that was nice. There was sounds in the background and weird like synthesizer type sounds. It's like,
yeah,
in the back. Like I'm a big fan of being able to listen to a song and pick up on the overall thing, and then go back and hear things in the beat that you hadn't heard before. And I think this song kind of had that type of stuff. I don't know what it was about, but I did hear words and I understood them for the most part, which was kind of cool. I would listen to it again if I remembered to do so. Is what I would say to this song.
Yeah, Glass Animals is probably the most complicated music I like to listen to. Well, okay. If I was going to listen to music high, Glass Animals would be at the top of my list. I think that they always have such a complicated sound in the background, and each song, the way he writes songs, most of the songs that they have, the words are just there to give you the vibe, and then the music, like the actual like instrument sounds, that's like really supposed to take you on your journey, right? Journey. And it's like a 6-minute song. It's like a journey.
Yeah. It really is. It's like a novel in song form.
So you don't really need to know what the song is about. This song, actually, the lyrics do matter, and I quite like it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you felt the complexity of it, as opposed to the usual sparsity in the music I listen to.
Yeah. I just like the idea of you going to Amsterdam and eating the truffles with psilocybin and then just vibing out to Glass Animals.
Well, yeah. I mean, each of their songs, so they have a song that has one of my favorite lines of all time in it. It's "you're just gonna cry, you're just gonna have those peanut butter vibes," and that line gets me like a real level.
What does that mean? Whatever you
want it to mean. To me, a peanut butter vibe is not a good thing. You don't want peanut butter vibes.
What if you love peanut butter?
Even if you love peanut butter, you don't want peanut butter vibes, because peanut butter is like thick and it's like heavy and it's dense. It's not like airy and like, it's not marshmallow. You'd want marshmallow vibes. You don't want peanut butter vibes. I own a pin. I bought a pin off of Etsy. It's the only time I've ever bought anything on Etsy, but it's a pin that's just a jar of what looks like Jif peanut butter, but where it normally says Jif, it says vibes. So
okay.
It's literally like the peanut butter vibes thing.
That's funny.
Yeah. And that song sounds so different than any other song on that album. And that every song on that album sounds super different. And all those songs sound super different than The Other Side of Paradise, which is on a completely different album. But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. It was a cool song. More like that. For songs of the week.
Well, this next song of the week is
maybe this is a challenge week, so we'll do different, but also don't change your songs of the week for me ever. I'm just saying.
Oh, I didn't mean for our song of the week to be the challenge song.
I thought that was the thing.
No, okay, well, maybe I didn't word this properly last week. I meant that we do song of the week normally, but in addition, you have your song as dialogues. Like I used Apple Bottom Jeans as mine.
Okay.
So then what would have been yours? If your song of the week is that one, then you are ahead of me just by default. I didn't mean that they needed to be like one and the same. I said it was like partially like song of the week, partially like rapid fire question.
Okay.
That's my bad.
Let me quickly go through my playlist to see what I listened to this week to come up with a song of the week on the fly.
Okay, so my song, it can be the same. It doesn't have to be different. But my song of the week was Bon Voyage by Yua, I think is how you pronounce her name, or Oh My Girl.
Okay.
It's a K-pop lady.
Okay.
My friend who's very into K-pop sent it to me and was like, does this remind you of the World Cup? And I listened to it and I was like, this very much so reminds me of the World Cup. And I like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So your song challenge was last week. My song challenge is this week. That was your song of the week for this week.
Yes.
I now have to come up with a song of the week. I already have it. I'm all good.
Okay, all right.
I'm just doing my song challenge This is confusing.
The song, I assume the song challenge is going to come afterwards. So you do your song of the week like normal, and then we'll see about your song challenge.
Okay, my song of the week is "Runnin'" by 21 Savage.
Okay, is that I think have you had 21 Savage on your song of the weeks before? Do you remember?
I don't remember if I have. I don't think I have.
Is he like a rappy boy, like a real rappy boy, or is he like more like a?
No, he's like a trap rapper.
Okay.
So it's kind of about violence and guns and shit, and he has like a lazy flow, kind of. He doesn't really rap like that, but he does know how to rap. Do not want to disrespect 21 Savage. Jesus Christ, he's a scary man, but like the way he raps is not like Griselda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I feel like I asking somebody if they're like a rappy rap boy isn't actually my that's not like my real question. My question is like, what style of rapper that I know would he be similar to?
Yeah, his whole thing is okay. Well, on this song in particular, it's produced by Metro Boomin, who has like a very specific type of sound. I think it's a very he kind of defined modern trap music with the way that he produces beats and stuff. So he has 21 Savage has an album called Savage Mode. That was his original kind of debut big thing that came out. He's the man who said people say crack kills, my crack sells. That kind of vibe in his music.
Damn, that's a good line.
And that kind of stuff. Talking about shooting up your grandmother's house and shit like that. Just fucking like that kind of music.
Damn. All right.
So this is a sequel album called Savage Mode 2. They've been kind of hyping it up for a while. The song "Runnin'" I think is a kind of a progression of that whole thing. I think it's really good. It's good to listen to. The album is narrated by Morgan Freeman, in case you're interested in that too.
I'm all on narrated? Yeah. What does that mean?
Like the intro, outro, and little interwoven whatever little pieces between the songs are narrated by Morgan Freeman. Like he gives little monologues.
Do you think Morgan Freeman asked to do that, or do you think he was paid to do that?
Maybe both. I don't think he asked to do it. I think he was asked to do it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think Morgan Freeman is like, oh, you're talking about shooting up grannies, huh? Fucking let me get on that.
You don't think he was like, I like me some 21 Savage?
Maybe. I don't actually know. It's possible.
What would be the wildest artist for Morgan Freeman to do that for, do you think? 21 Savage is up there for me, apparently.
It probably is 21 Savage.
Do you think if he collaborated with Kanye, would that be bigger?
It may be bigger because Kanye's releases are more impactful, I guess. Like people follow Kanye releases in a way, even when they don't really like hip hop and stuff like that. So it would be bigger, but in terms of someone listening to it and being like, "What the fuck is that Morgan Freeman?" 21 Savage's album is probably the one.
All right, hold on a second. My nose is running, and I need to blow it. No, I don't think I want to do that on camera.
Wipe my nose. I'ma blow it. That's a line from Lil Uzi Vert and his song Loaded. It's a perfect example of Lil Uzi Vert's Lilium Ezekiel Vertical. The only reason I'm talking still is because I don't want to make an edit here, because editing is difficult. Sorry. No. It's not. I'm just trying to fill in space. Wipe my nose. I'ma blow it. The song Loaded by Lil Uzi Vert. Okay, is it time for the rapid fire question song challenge?
Yeah.
Okay. So you already did yours last week, right? So this is just me going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God, this man actually went old school about pen and paper.
I didn't bring a pen, but it's like Chekhov's gun. You know, it's been here the entire time. It's like he's gonna use it.
What a reference! What a reference! This man came with everything. Everything but the SD card.
No, I have the SD card. I didn't have the SSD. Okay, so I have to do some setup for this.
Okay.
One person is attempting to kind of display what he purchased from his trip to the store.
Okay.
And another person is French, and he's very familiar with the brand Givenchy.
Okay.
And person A maybe doesn't necessarily know how things are pronounced. Right?
Okay.
So, Givenchy, my toes and my bros and my hoes. What? Givenchy. This is person B, right? Saying that. Givenchy, my toes and my bros and my hoes. For show, for show. Givenchy? Givenchy, my toes and my bros and my hoes. For show, for show. Givenchy? Givenchy, my toes and my bros and my hoes, and that is for show, is for show. For show.
Is that really?
What's the song?
That's the lyrics to the song?
It's called Givenchy by Young Thug.
I gotta listen to this one.
One of my favorite songs ever. That song, besides whatever the hilarity of the fact that his ad-libs, you could do this whatever dialogue thing, which I think is funny. The way that he raps on that song showcases why he's one of the best technical rappers ever. Because like you hear a beat, and I think I've mentioned this before, you hear a beat and you think I can rap here and I can make it sound like this here. The way he raps on this song changes so much, and it's so like animated, and the way he raps are ways that like human minds cannot comprehend. If you just heard the beat and were like, oh, I can rap like this in the fucking thing, you wouldn't think like that. Like Young Thug is so good, and this song is 5 years old.
Is it on Spotify?
No, it's not.
All right,
It's not. It's from a mixtape that's not on Spotify.
I have to go find it.
It's also got a legendary introduction by a man named Birdman. It's not his real name. His name's Brian Williams, but his rap name is Birdman.
His official legal name is Birdman. First name Bird, last name Man. No middle name.
It's got a legendary intro that I think you'll appreciate because it's kind of funny. So anyway, that's my song challenge of the week.
Thank you.
Givenchy?
It's easy to do this with hip hop, especially with hip hop that has ad libs.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really hard to do with my songs.
Yeah, it is, because I was trying to think, are there any songs I can think of that fit this? There are songs that actually have dialogues, where it's kind of like Give Me the Loot by Biggie Smalls, for example, has a literal dialogue in the song. And then I was like, no, that kind of goes against the spirit of the question, I think. So let me do other things where it's just the actual main kind of vocal track of the song is the dialogue. I couldn't find anything really. It was hard for me to find stuff like this because I can't Google it. I have to just reach into my memory bank or whatever. And I started with Young Thug just because he has so many ad-libs, and that's the kind of, like you just said, the ad-libs really are the thing where you can get a dialogue, because it's kind of it reinforces often what the main line says, so it's kind of a funny thing.
Yeah, the only song I know, so there's a song I listened to called Iron Skies by Paolo Nutini, and he just legitimately has the entirety of Charlie Chaplin's The Dictator monologue in the middle of the song.
Okay.
So, like, but I can't quote the whole that's a monologue, it's not a dialogue, so it'd be impossible to use that one. And most of the songs I listen to are like so sparse, or like the lyrics don't really matter about them, so it'd be kind of hard to do, I think, for me.
Yeah, you just have like, and then, that's your dialogue.
I actually was gonna make the joke of the song of the week, because one of the parts is basically them making noises, and I was like, that's how I talk to my dog when I'm alone with her.
She just responded to me doing that. She
doesn't like weird noises. So I actually have stopped making bird noises in my house and stuff.
Smart.
Yeah.
She just dominates your whole lifestyle. You have to do everything around her.
I mean, I definitely have changed a lot. I stopped eating chocolate, really, because I'm afraid of her getting hurt from chocolate. I eat like little bits of chocolate, but
you gotta eat the whole bar.
I don't get bars of chocolate anymore. I get like the little individually wrapped like Dove chocolates or whatever.
You're a changed man.
I really am. Yeah. I mean, I still eat like 10 of them in a sitting, but you know how it is.
I do know how it is. It'd be like that sometimes.
All right. Are you ready to take us out of this very long podcast?
Yeah, this is probably our longest podcast ever. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Let us know if you have thoughts on what we did. This one, I don't know, is kind of a special thing, and if it was interesting to you and or
if
not
you're listening and you were there when Joseph and I became friends and you remember more about this story than we do, enlighten us, because I'd like to know what the transition period was like, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know how we got here. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. Our music was done by our friend Tynan at Nytan, Nytan on Bandcamp. You can go to our website at homegames.io. We are also on Twitter at homegames.io. Yeah, thank you again for listening.
See ya.
Bye.